Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, and we come to you every Monday to Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the iHeartRadio Network worldwide. I want to thank you so much for bringing us into your family, iHeartRadio. We won't let you down. I also want to say, Big C, thank you to all of our tweets from Latin America, so bienvenidos to you. I'm learning how to get my Spanish down correctly, Big C. Also, London, England, and the great Berlin. I'm trying, Big C, I'm trying. And Berlin, Germany, also the great country of Canada. And again, I'm very impressed with some of the tweets coming in from Australia as well as Russia. And I know that Russia, you can see that from your house, Big C. You talked about that yesterday. But I also want to thank you, Big C, for calling in from the East Coast as you are down in the southeast area of the United States. And you offer so much to the show, and you have been doing this business for over 40 years, Big C. How are things going for you today?
You know, it's been a wonderful day. I thought I was going to get out and go do some yard work. I looked outside. It was so beautiful. I sit back down on the couch.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you had a riding lawnmower, Big C. You don't have to sit down on the couch. Sit down on the lawnmower, Big C.
No. I wasn't worried about working on my tan today. You know, that sun was beaming down in the mid-90s and all. So I said it was easy to sit down and drink a couple of cold ones. I can't say what they were.
Oh, yeah.
But it was easy. You know, I decided, okay, I will go outside. So I toked up the barbecue grill, Charlton, and act like an old man should.
Well, nothing wrong with acting like an old man should. In fact, welcome to the $1 Million Show. Today is July 15th, 2016, and we thank everyone for following Charlton and Big C Sports. In fact, Big C, I got some actress out of Hollywood. Her name is Dory, and she's been talking to me and tweeting out about Charlton and Big C Sports. Also, there's a lady, Catherine Garardi. She's kind of a motivational person to help you get clarity. She's reaching out to us. A lot of good things are happening. I'm going to be talking to Uriah Faber, part of the UFC, coming up. And there may be a chance talking to Dana White also about what they're doing with UFC. So many people are getting into Charlton and Big C Sports. And also, Big C, speaking of getting into it, we do have the music industry. You do it as well as anybody in the country. And we do have this little theme. I like bringing it to the attention. It's called Charlton and Big C. Just a few minutes. See, I'm liking that.
Charlton, when we listen to the music in the program, it reminds me of the show, and they've done a sequel to it, Barbershop, with Ice.
Oh, yeah.
Entertainer, Common, and many other.
Yeah, many great actors,
black actors and stuff, Charlton. But when you sit down and you look at that movie is a reminiscence of us.
Oh, yeah.
As far as what we do. We don't have scripted conversations based on what the scores were, as you said yesterday, or even earlier in the day, or what somebody said.
Yeah.
We're talking about the factual aspect of life and sports and how they're interwoven with everybody, Charles.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of being interwoven, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Escalade, the standard of the world, and you can only get it brand new there at your Northern California Cadillac dealers. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, I've seen so many Cadillacs riding around. I remember back in the day, that was one of the favorite cars of a lot of people, and even the president still drive them. So go down and tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, so much has happened in the world of sports. And again, I just want to say that we started out at Salem Media back in September of 2015. And to be a part of the iHeart Radio Network family, over 250 million listeners in their marketing base, and you can just download Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio app, and you can listen to our show every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I want to get back to what we were talking about, Big C, with the ESPYs. And I really want to acknowledge you because I know Jim Brown got a lot of credit, and he should. He's been out there for years talking about social justice and also what can we do to make the world safer, not just for athletes or just for black Americans, but for all Americans. And I want to really pay homage to the Canadian family that did the national anthem at the All-Star game. They talked about all lives matter. So it's not just the United States consciousness. It's not just a black consciousness. It's all good people. And I hope that we can do a lot more to bring our country together. My heart goes out to another terrorist attack that hit France and Nice, France. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, Big C, because this is so much bigger than what we can understand. I just hope that people throughout the world keep the peace, and this is why we really need law enforcement. Big C, your thoughts on that?
And Charlton, when you talk about it, give praise to the French law enforcement.
Yeah.
Those were the people that were called, not your buddies down the street
Yeah.
with a rifle or a gang of guys. You call law enforcement because law enforcement worldwide is what helps keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
There's lone nuts on every side of the ledger, whether they're wearing blue, whether they're just common street people.
Yeah.
But law enforcement is what we all need. The president spoke about it. We have to find some commonality of understanding
Yeah.
between law enforcement, the public, and even sports people, Charlton.
Yeah.
All of us need each other. But let's not turn our backs on law enforcement. As you say in these France, worldwide prayers go out to those people.
Yeah.
We even lost some Americans in that incident over there, Charlton.
Yeah.
But the world is a better place with sports.
Yes.
And it's a commonality regardless of race, creed, or culture.
Yeah.
Everyone has sports. And when those sporting events are on, Charlton, it brings a peace,
Yeah.
a sense of calmness to society.
Yeah.
And so we need to get back to that and pay more attention to it.
Well, I think when I was growing up, Big C, I remember I was taught to read. We had to read, whether you read a newspaper, whether you read a comic book, whether you read a magazine, you had to read. And of course, playing was part of that too. But I was talking to a lot of mothers because what happened with the Dallas police officers that were gunned down, and again, my hearts and thoughts go out to them and their families and any victim of any type of violence in this country. But I talked to a lot of mothers, some married, some single, about what they can do to keep kids safe. Because, you know, Big C, in the world of sports, it's usually male-dominated, and oftentimes you have, in professional football, you have big, strong professional athletes, and sometimes we just have a heart to go out and get what we want. But I love listening to a lot of mothers out there and getting their opinion about what it takes to keep kids safe. And even if you think that you live in a gated community and you live in a wealthy part of town and these problems do not affect you, whenever you interact with the public, they affect you. I'm going to be talking to a lot of the high schools here in Northern California about what it means to be an entrepreneur. And if you have that mentality, you're less likely to go out and get in trouble, Big C, because everything that we do is reflected on by our actions, not just our words. So I really want to commend you. And when you started talking about how to have social responsibility, now about 4 months later, a lot of other networks, even ESPN, talked about it. You know, for one day, Big C, it was like the hot topic.
You could not turn on the TV this past week
and not see it.
Not hear ESPN and Fox talking about athletes need to have a social conscience and awareness and take more of a leadership role.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about the owners doing that, Charlton. And those owners, yes, there's more athletes than owners, but owners are the forefront of every organization.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have a LeBron James on the franchise. Nobody knows who plays in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Utah. So you only have one Steph Curry, one Tim Duncan was in the league.
Yeah.
Players of that caliber. But each owner owns a community, Charlton.
Yeah.
And is responsible for that community and giving back, Charlton. Not just putting his players out there, but putting himself out there in the forefront. Think about if Jerry Jones went out and talked about social consciousness, social awareness, improving education. And he's right there in Dallas where we had this police tragedy.
Yeah,
Charlton.
ironically, yes.
He came out and been the spokesperson about how we need to improve our sports and society in these communities, Charlton. Jerry Jones, who everyone in the world knows who he is.
Yeah.
But he was quiet. He was silent. It wasn't his issue. He had so many billions of dollars to worry about it. But it is his issue, Charlton. If Jerry Jones spoke out against these social injustices and inequalities and the problems with lack of education, the world would listen, Charlton, as well as America.
Well, when you bring that up, Big C, that's very poignant because, you know, I didn't really think about that. I haven't heard a peep out of Jerry Jones other than how the Cowboys are getting ready, for this upcoming season. And I see, Roger Goodell, who is a great leader for the NFL, commissioner, if you want to call it that. However, he spent so much time focused on Tom Brady. Tom Brady's given up, and he's going to take the 4-game suspension over Deflategate. What if the NFL had the same kind of heart and passion for putting time and energy and resources back into these inner city neighborhoods And I say that because most of the league is African American. So if you care about the athlete, wouldn't you care about their families and maybe some of their relatives left behind, Big C? That's why what you bring up is so important. Everybody wants to put the onus on LeBron James. They want to put it on Chris Paul or Carmelo Anthony or Dwayne Wade. And I'm proud of those guys standing up at the ESPYs. But whether you're black or white, whether you're from the old school, whether you're Joe Montana, whether you're a Terry Bradshaw or someone like a Larry Bird, it's not just about black athletes. And see, the thing that I saw in the ESPYs, and I think that no one really paid attention to it, there were only black men standing up saying that we need to bring a stop to this issue. And I think that's great, but what happened to guys like Larry Bird standing up? What happened to a guy like Tom Brady standing up? What happened to a guy like J.J. Watt standing up? You know, where was Kirk Cousins standing up? Where were some of these other guys that make these multiple $million contracts, and as if they clap and they applaud? But black and white does this together. When I grew up, I had black and white people in my family, and also Latin Americans in my family. So whenever someone wanted to do something for the family, it was all of us. It took a village, Big C. So what can we say to the white athlete to have them say more than just a hand clap, Big C? Is that asking too much, or is that on the right point, Big C?
Well, I tell you, today Tom Brady feels like a black athlete as hard as he
Yeah.
You really thought he was black the way Roger Goodell was going after him.
Yeah, he's been racially profiled by Roger Goodell now, Big C.
Yeah, Roger forgot Tom was white.
Tom, welcome to the family. Welcome to the family, Tom.
I mean, rush to judgment, and I'm going to ride this horse. Probably got it from USC.
Yeah.
And he rode that horse till it dropped. That's what he did in that scenario, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see Roger Goodell be more of a spokesperson.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see the commissioner of the NBA, Donald Sterling.
Yeah.
I mean, not Donald Sterling, Donald Silver.
Yeah, Silver, yeah. Adam Silver be more of a spokesperson.
Yeah. Commissioner of Major League Baseball. Let's go out and talk about what's going on in society.
Yeah.
You have all these great athletes in your sports. But as you spoke about it, Chuck, these guys are white.
Yeah.
So they don't understand social justice, inequality, or financial inequality. They've never had that in their lives. For the past several decades, they've had a silver spoon in their mouths, every one of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you talk about the lack of knowledge from white athletes, and I heard a white columnist, you know, if you listen to our show from yesterday when I made the quote from the great Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, you got to look at the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
And there was a white commentator this morning said, I asked myself, what could I do?
Yeah.
He said, I don't know what I could do. I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is what he said on national television. He said, you know, we all need to question ourselves about legacy and life and how can we help. And he said, I stood there and I thought for over an hour.
Yeah.
And I tried to think in my mind, what kind of impact could I make? What kind of change could I make? What effort could I make?
Yeah.
And basically what he was saying, it doesn't affect me because I'm white.
Yeah.
And I have a good job in America. So why should I put myself in that position to be ostracized by the rest of my social circle?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be an advocate for those who don't have. You know, I'm not the president of the United States. That's his job.
Yeah.
You know, but here it is with all the people that I deal with, we don't have to deal with these social injustices.
Yeah.
We don't have to live or deal with the financial imperative
Yeah.
that society has. I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
I'm paid well. I live in a comfortable neighborhood. I drive a good car. I can use Uber when I want to use it.
Yeah.
I can get on a plane. I fly first class and I coach. So how can I go back and help society? You know, leave it to the rich athletes, even though I'm covering the athletes.
Yeah.
Leave it to them to try to decide. Oh, but only leave it to the black ones.
Yeah.
The white ones, they're like me.
Well, you know, Big C, I was talking to a former 49er, Chuck Thomas, just the other day, not too long ago, and we were talking about what it takes to make it in the game, and sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. But I'll never forget this thing about, you know, the challenge, and I've never been perceived as a dumb jock because I'm intelligent, I'm as erudite as the next person. I don't mind challenging anyone to reading or having conversation, not to be truculent, but just to show that you're more than just a big, strong, physical person.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you can get part of it because I'm dyslexic, you know, and I can't read.
Well, I never said I wasn't dyslexic, Big C.
As long as you are a spokesperson first, and we're going to be okay.
Hey, people don't understand, like sometimes when you're on TV, Big C, and you're reading a commercial or you're reading a script, they don't know if you're reading it wrong if you don't tell them, Big C. So all you know is you just keep talking, and that's what I learned from doing broadcast. And speaking of talking, Big C, before we get into our next segment, I want to say that this segment is sponsored by your California Lottery. What could a buck do for you? I'm telling you, Big C, I've been scratching and itching ever since I bought this lotto ticket. It has a $311 million prize that's going to happen for the Powerball. So I just want to thank you, Big C. We're going to split it, and I'll tear it down the middle, Big C. But I don't think they'll take it that way, but I'll make sure I get their opinion on that first, Big C.
Well, Charlton, I got some coins buried in the backyard in a tin can. I'm going to have to go out there and pick them up and see about mailing them out there to you. Maybe I can strap them to that horse. You know, after UNC is all whipped and worn out, and he can drag it back to California.
Well, you keep talking about the USC horse and how Lynn Swan's going to ride the white horse into the great state of Texas, but this brings me up to cultural shifts. I remember one time I went to visit my good old friends down in the South, and he said, "Hey, Charlton, I got to go to the bank. You want to come with me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go with you." I thought we were going to go get in his car. He went out to the backyard and dug up a coffee can, Big C, so I guess he didn't trust the government. Yeah, so you guys live a little bit different, but the guy had a lot of money in that coffee can, Big C. So California Lottery, a buck can go a long way when it comes to you. Also, Charlton and Big C Sports on iHeartRadio every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time worldwide. So, Big C, we talk about money and social consciousness, and I'm so proud of what you've brought to my consciousness, because you do read a lot more than I do, and I'm not knocking that. I'm more of the guy that says Google it, right? But when I was asking someone a question about what do they think about the sports business, and I said it's a platform where a lot of people have a lot of power, whether it's Charles Barkley or Jim Brown or Harry Edwards. And this guy just wanted to talk about this contract that Von Miller signed with the Denver Broncos. I think it's 6 years, $114 million. And I said, that's great that he signed the contract for $114 million. I'm very happy for him. At the same time, the Denver Broncos organization and John Elway, what are they doing for the black community? What are they doing for the poor white community in the city of Denver, in the state of Colorado? Because that's important. And I don't want to put the onus just on these athletes who are primarily black in the NFL. And everyone says that you should take 10% of your money and give it back to what organization? Kids they need help, they need mentorship. But you hit it on the head, Big C, and I want to give you credit. They need Ninja Trader. They need other investment platforms that makes them stop having to look for a job and become an entrepreneur, create the job. The stock market is the equalizer. If you can learn Madden 2016, you can learn how to become a trader, even if it's penny stocks, even if it's day trading. Am I off the mark, Big C, or is that even heading in the right direction, Big C?
You're so accurate with that, Charlton. And when you look at what John Elway and Von Miller just went through, that's basically, they were day trading.
Yeah.
They were trading numbers back and forth with each other. And you look at John Elway, of all GMs in the NFL, here's a guy who held the franchise ransom back in 1983, 82, when the Baltimore Colts or Indianapolis Colts drafted him. And he said, I'm not going to play for this organization. And he chose to go out and play professional baseball, holding out from the NFL. And then, Von Miller said, okay, he pulled the John Elway on John Elway. He said, okay, you're not going to pay me? I'll just sit out the seat. You got the Super Bowl MVP,
yeah.
And you got the best defensive player, if not one of the top three defensive players.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In the NFL.
Definitely.
So what are you going to do without me? Who do you have on defense? Everybody's left for free agency. Get that money now.
Well,
so I'm staying put. And not only that, Von Miller was John Elway's first draft pick. Think about doing all that at one time. Losing your first number one draft pick that you ever drafted.
Yeah. Losing
your Super Bowl MVP over what? The same money that other players are making.
Ego.
Only $70 million of this contract is guaranteed. Only $70 million.
You guys got more than that in your coffee cans in the backyard, Big C. I understand how you guys live.
But in being realistic, how much of this money will Von Miller see? He will not do 5 years of this contract in Denver, Charlton. They'll find some reason to get him off, because he'll be 9 years in the NFL, cut, trade, whatever, restructure.
Yeah.
But, Von Miller is a great asset to this organization.
Yeah.
He's averaged about 15 sacks a year since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
That's a very high ratio, almost a sack a game.
And that's being double teamed. That's being double teamed, Big C.
Double teamed by people, outweighing him sometime by 100 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's a tenacity on defense. He has a purpose to play.
Yeah.
And that's what great players do, Charlton. Von Miller has given a lot back to the communities. If you go back to Texas, where he's from, and you look at what he's given in DeSoto, Texas. Matter of fact, he just donated a police car to the city of DeSoto about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So Von Miller is socially conscious. We talk about helping out the kids.
Yeah.
He's helping out the guys in blue as well, Charlton, donating to the police department.
Yeah.
The people who serve and protect to make sure that they have decent transportation to get to a service call.
Well, Big
this
C.
is the type of person that a Von Miller is. Now,
Yeah.
Yes, Charlton, he got a lot of money, but he also gives back. He also has an eyeglass program for the youth, Charlton.
Yeah.
So for those who cannot afford eyeglasses, and I was one of those growing up. But this is what Von Miller does. He just doesn't take the check. He disperses money out of his check to help the communities, Charlton.
Well, Big C, I want to tell everybody that what he did is excellent, and you deserve to make money in the United States of America, and that's why we get on the NCAA for exploiting these young black athletes, and the white ones too, but about 80% of the athletes in college are black and about 75% in the NFL, and a lot of them come from communities where they just get exploited, and I hate seeing it, and if I'm a sycophant and won't stand up for it like a lot of other people don't stand up for it, then I'm part of the problem. So I don't want to be a part of the problem, and speaking of not being a part of the problem, this segment is sponsored by United Labor Insurance, guaranteed insurance up to $100,000 with no medical questions, and it's also endorsed by the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports to get more information on that. Also by Goosehead Property and Casualty Insurance. We're the leaders in the country when it comes to property and casualty. We beat about 98% of the people when it comes to a quote. Also, I'm a broker with One Life America Life Insurance, the leaders when it comes to final expense. Tweet out to Charlton and Big C Sports, and you can also follow us on the iHeart Radio Network, and we want to make sure that it gets you everything you need. And I want to also bring this up, Big C. Every sports team, every single one of them, they have uniforms. Now, if you follow Phil Knight, Uncle Phil is what you call him, from the great University of Oregon, Big C, they have this uniform pattern where I think they have over 100 different designs in the uniforms, Big C. Is that what they have up there, Big C?
Well, when you think about Oregon, it's a fashion show when they come out and play. It's a fashion show and a track meet all at the same time.
Yeah.
But, they're the test lab for Nike. And what a great place to be if you're a college athlete.
Yeah.
Be the test lab and get every new piece of gear that this company creates.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have some money that goes along with this gear. Think about it. They're doing free advertisements for Nike.
Yeah.
Whatever they wear, Nike is selling. So they're out there advertising for Nike. This is what you can have on national television. So Nike doesn't have to buy a commercial. Phil Knight is a genius when it comes to that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to buy commercials because look at all the sports teams that wear his apparel.
Free advertisement.
Whether they're NBA players, NFL players, Major League Baseball players. But look at college teams.
Yeah.
They have the swoosh right on the jersey. They got the gloves on. They got the shoes. Even got Nike helmets. So Phil Knight is a genius. He's making money, getting free advertising, giving away free stuff. But if you think about the cost of those commercials, and that game runs for 3 hours, Charlton, on a football game.
Yeah.
Think about how many millions of dollars he's saving by funding a university. And he's funding half the universities in the United States with clothing apparel, Charlton.
Well, let me just mention this to everyone, every sports team, whether you are a part of a youth soccer league or Little League baseball, punt, pass, and kick football, whether you're a high school, college, or professional, whether you're Nike, Under Armour, Reebok, no matter who you are, I want you to pay attention to this. The company that I'm representing is called G5 Textiles. Contact Charlton and Big C Sports. Tweet out to us because we can help put any design on any athletic uniform in the world, whether it's soccer, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, tennis, no matter what it is. But the difference between Charlton and Big C Sports with what we're doing is we're going to give back some money to help fund the inner city projects, whether it's a nonprofit. But my hope and goal is to help get more computers into the inner city schools, whether it's black or white or Hispanic. It doesn't matter what your race is. If you have a need, I want to help to sponsor that need with the owner of our company, and that's called G5 Textiles. tweet out the Charlton and Big C Sports if you have a uniform that needs a logo or anything. I'm even talking to Phil Knight at Nike, because if you're going to be a change, you got to be a part of that change. With the Charlton and Big C Sports, we just made that agreement today. And I want to make sure that if you want to order a uniform, tweet out to us, Charlton and Big C Sports, even if you're Phil Knight at Nike. I want to be not just someone who talks about doing it. Whatever you do with that order, you order from us, we're going to give money back to the young inner city communities, whether it's black or white or Hispanic, because I want to help fund computers. I don't care about giving them tennis shoes, Big C, and you brought my mind to that. Couldn't care less about giving them tennis shoes, but that's fine too. But I want to make sure that every young kid of color, whether they're black or white, if they don't have the means, I want to make sure that they can get a computer the same way they get a free meal. I can't do it on my own. That's why we're asking, if you're printing uniforms for sports, no matter whether it's soccer, football, basketball, baseball, tennis, whether you're a $100 million athlete or whether you're at the high school or elementary levels, we can print the logos on your uniforms. And if you can reach out to us, some of the proceeds will go to help create computers and other programs for inner city schools. Big C, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a great idea. We also have to let people know that Comcast participates in a program that if you're a low-income family, is that you can get a school computer for your child, a laptop, for $150.
That's amazing.
This is something that needs to be let known through general media.
Yeah.
Is that Comcast has a program that you can get your child, if you're a low-income family, a laptop used computer, but it's a computer that works, okay,
Yeah.
Charlton?
Yeah.
To help them with their education, help them learn so that they don't fall behind. $150 is all it takes. And if we can find people who are willing to help donate into this program, we will distribute the computers, Charlton.
Yeah.
We will get them out
Yeah.
to the general public. We will deliver them to the schools. But the general public needs to understand that they can donate to Charlton and Big C Sports. We'll get them the email address and all of that. But these are the things that can assist children.
Yeah.
There are companies out there who are trying to assist within the community. Everything is not free, but they make it very affordable.
Yeah.
You can go out and get your hair done, go out and get your nails done. You can get the child a computer.
Well, Big C, I know down in the South, a lot of those, I one time dated a good old girl from the South. She didn't care about getting her hair done, and she didn't care about getting her toes done, but Big C, she was still real. That's back in the day. Now, California women, it might be hard to get them not to get the hair or toes done, but that's a cultural thing, Big C, and I might get in trouble for saying that. But I think that there was a group that sang about they wish they could all be California girls. That's a song back in the 70s.
Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys. So that's what they were talking about. They said it first. Don't get mad and Charlton and Big C for it. But I just want to say this too, Big C, that this segment is sponsored by BeneathHisWingsFoundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast and secure. And when it comes to promotions, contact Cynthia Evans of CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotion, she's the best in Northern California. Tweet out to her, let her know that Charlton and Big C Sports sent you. So, Big C, I want to bring this up because anyone can come on the radio and say the Yankees beat the Giants 5-4, and it was the Pirates 7-2 over the Rangers, and also the Mariners beat the whatever 5-3, right? Now, we know football's coming up, and you brought it to my attention that the LA Rams sold out. They haven't played a game in Los Angeles in 20 years. And they sold out, and you can also hear some of their games on the iHeartRadio network, along with the Charlton and Big C Sports. But Big C, you said something that's been in my mind resonating. And I want to bring this up because as we have the great Jim Brown, and we were talking about the great Muhammad Ali celebrations, and I appreciate so much the great Harry Edwards and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's a segment I did on a radio program back in the day, and it's called Who's on Your Team? And who's on your team means this. Who do you call if you have trouble in your life? Who do you call if you need someone to bail you out of a situation? Who do you call if you need someone to watch your kids? Who do you call if you're having trouble in your own life? I saw this thing on ESPN last night where they chronicled the downfall of Darryl Strawberry, and there was another guy that pitched for the Yankees also, or for Doc Gooden, yeah, for the Mets, I believe it was, Big C. Now,
Doc Gooden was with the Mets. Darryl Strawberry was
the Yankees, and also with the Dodgers at that time. He even played for the Giants at one time.
In 1979, he was the number one overall draft pick in Major League Baseball out of Crenshaw High School in central Los Angeles.
Yeah, downtown Los Angeles, not far from USC's campus. So this is important because man, it pains me when people just say that someone has an addiction, we need to throw them in prison. When they're young black men, they're usually tossed in prison and they're under the tutelage of the criminal justice system, either on parole or probation. When some guys have a substance issue and they violate their parole or probation, they throw them back in prison. I contrast that to some of my Caucasian friends who have the same type of issues. They were not tossed in prison pejoratively. For the most part, they were sent into counseling. Now, whether you're a black parent or a white parent or a Native American parent or a Latin parent, doesn't matter who you are. As a mother and a father, there's an issue in our society. So I don't want to be a dumb sycophant junk that just talks about the score. If you want that, tune into other programs. I want to make sure that mothers and fathers know, and if you are someone going through an issue, like a Strawberry or a Gooden, you can go get help. I'm so proud of these men for seeking the help that they sought. It's not a battle that's over in 1 day or 2 days. They struggled with the addiction. And if you talk about reaching back to the community, a lot of times people can't function because they're high on drugs, whether they have some type of acid or lace or whatever they're doing. And I'm saying that Nancy Reagan had a slogan that was called "Just Say No to Drugs." That was simplistic, but it's realistic. If we can reach out to young kids who are going to be sucked into the system of college sports, or even high school sports, where some people try to do whatever it takes, Big C, to get bigger, stronger, and faster. It doesn't just happen in the sports world. There's a lot of fraternities and sororities out there too when our kids go off to college. Talk to your kids about not letting that happen to them. Being socially responsible. We're responsible for ourselves. Yeah, we want to cheer for the sports team, but you can't do that if you're high on cocaine or whatever else they're doing. So, Big C, what advice would you give to young kids when they get pulled into an environment, they have bright eyes like Gooden and Strawberry talked about? What can they do to just stay on track and not succumb to that pressure, Big C? Your thoughts on that, Big C?
Well, ironically, you bring up Straw, and Straw and I actually were on a flight together a couple of years ago going down to Florida, where he now lives and works in the youth ministries.
Yeah.
But, what we see and what we've continuously talked about, Charlton, is what these young men and girls see on television. And we don't hear any negativity about the bad things that occur. We constantly glorify these athletes, but when they fall through the cracks, you don't see ESPN or Fox doing stories on these guys, Charlton. These are the stories that need to be talked about.
Yeah.
The negative side of what can occur in sports.
Yeah.
When you're downtrodden. I remember one year coming to training camp, and we had just won a championship the year before. We had this defensive back that showed up, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he had lost about 30 pounds. Because he learned what drugs were.
Yeah.
And he showed up early, trying to get his reporting bonus early, and he got cut the day they did the physicals.
Yeah.
But no one had followed through with this guy to see if he ever needed any help.
Yeah.
They just cut him and kicked him back out on the street. And I saw this happen twice in my career, where we had great players show up, and because they had found some recreational usage during the off season, the team just cut them. The team didn't say, hey, let's put you in rehab for services rendered, for what you've done for us in the past, sacrificing your body and your mind. But this is what you've come to, so we don't want any part of you. This is what we talk about in the colleges, spending off young men, young women nowadays, not caring about their future, not looking at their education. And I look at that as with former teammates that I had. I had great teammates, I had bad teammates, but you cared about all your teammates, Charlton. And this is what we owe the youth who are playing the sports in America, because they are the professional future.
Yeah, I agree very much.
Only a few of them, but they are the professional future. And you got to talk to them.
Yeah.
You got to get them early counseling. Get them to understand. Because all they see is the dollar sign.
Yeah.
And they'll do whatever they can to try to get that dollar sign. And when they don't get it, what happens to them in life, Charlton?
Well, Big C, that's very well said. And I want to say that Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, we're about social consciousness. And I know sometimes we just want to hear the score that the Raiders beat the Broncos 14-7 or that the 49ers beat the Redskins 27-15. And that's great, too. But I want to say this to the parents specifically. And even to you, the youth. They're doing a march in Sacramento coming up with Mayor Kevin Johnson next week. I'm going to participate in that. And the reason I'm participating is because people need to see there's an option. I've never done drugs in my life. I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody. I got my own other issues. But I do want to say this, Big C. If you're a parent or if you're an athlete, especially athletes because you have a lot of power, if you are too afraid to stand up and say what it takes to keep our kids safe in the future, because you don't want to lose your endorsement. If you can't do that, then have your kids stand up and say what they need to help keep them safe. Every mother and father, whether you're married or a single parent, no matter what it is, there's single fathers, there's single mothers, there's dual families out there too. We got to talk to our kids about not getting in trouble. When I was growing up, I saw this TV program called Scared Straight. Now, it scared me, because I grew up around a lot of knuckleheads, and a lot of guys did do some time. Unfortunately, my black friends that did the same thing that the white kids did, the white guys were given counseling, the black guys were sent to jail. And that's a fact. So I don't want to see that happening to other kids. I don't care what color you are. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Big C, as we close out the show on the iHeartRadio network, I just want to get your thoughts in the last 30 seconds on, again, the advice you want to give to young people as they're getting ready to go into college, Big C, and all the football games are starting up, and they're going to be in front of all these people, and they're going to have all these pressures given to them. What advice would you tell them, Big C, about staying straight, Big C?
Well, I think the young college athletes, Charlton, now have to be more demanding educationally, as well as their parents.
Yeah.
What is going to be my major? What kind of academic assistance am I going to get in? Am I going to get as much academic assistance as I'm going to get athletic assistance? That is the key, what we have to look at as far as from the perspective of society and the perspective of parents. We got to find a way to get these young men and women academic assistance, not just athletic assistance. And I think we'll come out a lot better in society over the next decade, Dalton.
Yeah, well, Big C, you always say it so eloquently, and just like our song, Charlton and Big C, is by Mr. Anon, and I appreciate him for the work that he's done for us. But I just want to say to everybody, this is a great country. It's a great opportunity to do anything you want to do. But if you're responsible for your life, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. My life's not easy either. But I have people that I can go to that are not going to BS me. Okay, there's no perfect people. They're only people who pretend to be. But what I want to bring to the iHeartRadio network with Charlton and Big C Sports, Big C, it starts with you, because you're not afraid to talk about things that are going to keep you safe or keep the next generation safe. And I'm so proud of Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade and even LeBron James for saying something. I wish Michael Jordan had the Ali character, because he's been one of the most celebrated athletes in the world, but he says nothing about what it's going to take to keep his own kids safe. So I'm not criticizing, I'm just putting my 2 cents in. So every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, you can listen to Charlton and Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, and you can tweet out to us on Twitter and Facebook. And I want to tell you that we appreciate everything that you've done for us, iHeartRadio. So we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.